Alright, hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Safer Lectures. So in this video we'll deal with this guy. So that's the second question. Of course, in the last video we talked about the first question, so this one we are going to the second question. List 5 characteristics of wireless channel. Fortunately, this question is even linked to the previous question. So characteristics of wireless channel, right? So when you hear wireless channel, it just means this communication. Remember last video we said this is a point and it's another point. So both points, they are communicating wirelessly. So no physical conductor, no wire, nothing like that, but communicating through air using what? Electromagnetic wave. So this they are communicating through air, yes, but that part in which they communicate, that is the channel. Although it's wireless, but they are communicating. Okay, so what are the characteristics of the wireless channel? What's the behavior of this wireless channel? That's the idea of this question. Now, the thing is this: since we have since this thing is wireless, okay, so as signal goes from this guy to this other guy, or this point to this other point, as the signal moves, it bounces off different points. The signal reflects. If there is a wall here, the signal will reflect off the wall. So the signal can reflect on different things before it gets to the final destination. Okay, I hope you understand what that means. The signal can do what? Reflect. Since the channel is wireless, meaning the signal can reflect off different points before getting to the destination. Since it's now hitting different points, that's where we get the idea of what? Multi-path what? Propagation. Because the signal can what? Reflect and on different objects, giving us multiple paths. So you can go through one path or another path based on reflection. Then that to multi-path propagation is one of the properties of the wireless channel. Okay, then another property is this fading, and this can happen. Fading can happen due to what? Interference. So as your signal is going from one point to another point wirelessly, there will be interference. So that interference can make your signal what? Stronger, or make your signal what? Weaker. So your signal becoming stronger or weaker is the what? Signal fading. And signal fading it's not really based on distance. Okay, it's just based on interference, multiple interference. Okay, multi-path interference. Multi-path just mean different paths interfering. Multi-path just mean different paths. Okay, a lot of paths together. Then the other property or property of a wireless channel is what? Interference. This is another property of it. Interference. Okay. And what in oh boy and what interference actually means is that while you are trying to communicate wirelessly with another person or another point, there can be other signal, because this is air. You are communicating through air, so other signals can even interfere with your signal. So interference is a property of wireless channel. Okay, and then the fourth one is what? Path loss. This one is based on distance. So your signal is strong at let's say this is the beginning and this is the end. So your signal is very strong at the beginning, and as it's going, it's getting weaker. So path loss increases with distance. That's your signal strength reduces as distance increases. So for the last one, Doppler shift effect due to mobility. Thing is this: as you move, the frequency changes. Okay, the frequency changes as you move, and we are communicating with frequency. So as you move, the frequency changes. I mentioned frequency in the first video. When I talked about vibration and circles completed in 1 second. So as you change your position, as you are moving while making call or with your or communicating, it affects your signal. Okay, it affects yes, it affects your signal. So these are the properties of wireless channels. These are the properties of wireless channels. Okay, so multipath propagation, and this happens due to a signal reflecting on different objects, then signal fading based on, and it happens because of interference, multi-part interference, multiple parts interfering with your signal. So you can get your signal can get stronger or weaker. Then interference, other signals in that channel can interfere with your own signal. That's the idea of interference. Then for path loss, as your signal go travels, as your signal travels, your signal strength is weakened. So the more distance, the less signal strength. Your signal strength reduces. Okay, with distance. Then a Doppler shift effect. That is, as you move, it affects the frequency. Your frequency changes, and that affects your signal. So this is just the idea of wireless channel. Okay, these are the properties or characteristics of wireless channel. All right, so see you in the next video on question 3 for question 3.